This is Figures Sold Separately, Episode 70, We Did Not See That Coming, July 21st, 2014.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Give me a break, woo! Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
That chocolate crispy taste is gonna make your day. And wherever you go, you hear the people say,
Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that.
Break me off a piece of that.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
One is a total bald fuck. The other is a dirty, filthy Jew. Another is a pretty boy. And the other is a humble narrator.
Cut.
Together.
Wait, can we say Jew?
Can we say Jew? It's not a dirty word, man.
I know, but when you put dirty, filthy in front of it,
I like how you just made it more anti-Semitic
You
than
really
it was to
did.
begin
What?
with.
no,
Considering the fact that the dirty, filthy Jew is not offended. It's just like when
Wait, are you calling yourself a dirty, filthy Jew?
Yes.
Where does the dirty,
I was going
filthy
into a
All right,
song.
I'm sorry.
And I don't think
we
you're really
totally
Jew.
stepped on
The
your
fact
intro.
that I haven't taken a shower in a day.
Can we allow... Please begin again, and we will not interrupt you this time.
Okay.
Although that definitely stays in.
One is a bald fuck. The other a dirty Jew. Yet another is a total pretty boy. And the other is a humble narrator. And together they will
Be recording live. Yes, they'll be recording live. One's a bald fuck, the other's a dirty Jew, and they are recording live.
Are you saying I'm a bald fuck? What the hell, man?
I'll
Yes.
take pretty boy. I'll compared to
Why can't I be the pretty boy?
compared to what the rest of you were called. I kind of like mine.
No, I was talking about
maybe I'm the
20 years.
Maybe I'm the narrator.
No.
If that's what you want to tell yourself.
Don't get too big for your britches.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Keene.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
All right, we continue to have two of our esteemed colleagues out on their hiatus. Jimmy and Renee are out. They have
Saving the
been
world,
banished
or-
to the Phantom Zone, last I heard. But we are wishing them the best, and hopefully they will be returned to us as soon as they are saved by General Zod. I think the alarm might be going off or something. We
It's
don't know.
from downstairs. It happened yesterday.
Okay,
as
cool.
well.
But anyway, as you heard last week, we have Casey Cowden sitting in for Renee this week.
Hello.
So Casey, how can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ManateeB. That's MANATEEBEE. So a sea cow and a bumblebee put together in a manatee bee on Twitter.
Awesome.
Thanks.
That was a great song.
I made it myself.
And Michael Keene, Mr. Michael Keene, who is connected to Casey in some manner, but you probably
By my penis.
Via my giant cock.
You know?
Right now. It's just how we're
But
holding hands.
It's just you and Elon Musk.
She's sitting on his lap. and-
But you guys probably know Michael best as the videographer for Multiverse, and he's
which means you probably don't know.
which
him.
means
Yeah,
you probably
so you
don't know.
Nobody knows me.
By the time this airs, he'll be super
Nobody
duper famous. And
Also an artist at
Michael-
Zapow.
and
Here-
also an artist here at Zapow.
Yeah.
He draws cats.
Yep.
Fat cats.
Very well, fat cats.
They're okay.
He recorded a metric ton of footage for Geek Out, and is heading up the Multiverse TV project with James Johnson and yours truly. How's that coming? We've got some cool stuff coming, right? We can't really talk about a lot of it.
Yeah,
but-
the video from Geek Out it's all right. I'm not going to overblow it. It's fine.
It could have been better.
There were issues here and there, but it's good enough. It will have some nice content. I'm going to be recording an interview with you, Ken, after this.
Ooh.
And then I'll go home and kill myself. So, oh wow,
Rigby doesn't agree. Rigby loves everyone.
Rigby doesn't
But
like the tone.
Multiverse
that she's
TV
hearing.
is going to be some sexy shit. But of course, we can't talk about it, so I don't know what to say. We have some narrative inklings.
Can you not talk about it for a moment and give people an idea of what they might not expect?
Well,
Good luck
at
with
this
that.
point, don't expect any Nazi porn. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be any Nazi porn. That's not what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying there is going to be Nazi porn, but I'm not saying there's not going to be Nazi porn. It's just don't expect.
So
Nazi
you might
porn.
Some hot Hitler on Ava Braun action.
So you might not see some Nazis, but not
not
seeing
see some
Nazis.
Nazis. Yeah.
I bet you did not see that coming.
Not see that can not see that coming be the title.
I mean, it's not my podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
If it's... Ooh.
Yeah, because people listen to this one.
Oh, damn!
Oh
son.
wow!
Actually, why don't you
That
pick
is
your...
the
I'm sorry.
second time you have insulted his
This
podcast
is the
and has his significant other that he won't marry. I am offended for him.
I'm sorry. Isn't this the 70th episode of your podcast, which has something like 100 listeners?
Oh, this
Why don't
is
you go
really
ahead and
good
pick your
wine.
little
I'm on my
like this
I'm on my
wine that I'm
13th
drinking.
episode, and yes, I only have like 5 listeners. But you know what? I had 22 downloads on one of them. Our Heat
We
Vision and Jack episode,
we kid, and we want to plug your podcast. So tell them a little bit about your show because it is pretty freaking cool.
Season Pass is my podcast. It's about TV shows that lasted a season or less. It includes pilots that never got picked up. And if you look for it on iTunes, it's the second Season Pass listed, right below the theme park related Season Pass, which, hey, I'll endorse theirs too because they seem like cool people. They're really nice about me having the name and telling me that
So
I
you
could
had
get
to talk to them about that, didn't you?
Yeah, we came to an agreement. But anyway, we just finished reviewing Harsh Realm. That episode drops on the final episode of that series drops on Tuesday. That was Chris Carter's post X-Files. Post / during Millennium show that only went one season. We also reviewed the Ben Stiller show.
Ben Stiller had a show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Niagara
yeah.
Radio.
You
And
don't
Heat
heard of the Ben
Vision and
Stiller?
Jack.
And Heat Vision and Jack. And we also did Baffled with Leonard Nimoy.
Oh my god.
Which was a
Where do you even
a
find
catastrophe.
these, man?
Well,
Internet.
actually, it's funny. Some of them, Baffled, I actually found at Orbit, the local video store here. They had released it on DVD randomly, and I got it because Leonard Nimoy was in it. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, this isn't just a TV movie. This was a failed pilot. And I've just started this podcast. Awesome possum.
This was the first podcast I was ever on.
But a lot of them you can find online, like Heat Vision Jack is on YouTube. We're going to be doing Dark Man with Jimmy from this podcast, and that's on YouTube. Oh.
And generally, when someone's signing us, we keep talking so that
Sorry,
the listeners
I
don't
was
know.
confused. Casey was Zeke hailing me. We
She literally was Zeke Heiling you.
I can't-
Which she can do because she's Jewish.
yeah, I can't talk about that podcast, honey, because we haven't announced it yet.
Oh, never mind. Anyway,
We
podcast and somehow the signal for it was
So what you're saying is we're
Emphatic
not worthy
Nazi
of you
saluting.
announcing
Wow.
a new podcast on.
no, we announce everything. We announce a new show at the end of whatever our current project is. So right now it's Harsh Realm. In this episode dropping Tuesday, we're announcing Darkman and Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation with Ken here.
And
You're gonna be on the last episode.
I'm going to be on his show, and so are you.
right.
So
But we have the entire lineup figured out until the new year. And Casey is going to be on a second episode. She was on the Baffled episode, and she's going to be on another pilot episode.
I'm not allowed to talk about because I forgot it hadn't been announced yet. I'm sorry. I'm just a stupid woman.
Goddamn right.
Oh, woman.
Oh, I should just make a sandwich.
Just go get a sandwich.
Get a sandwich. Okay. I like this version of sexism.
Where someone else is making me
Indeed.
a sandwich.
Yes.
So yeah, everybody go check out Season Pass. You can check us out on Facebook. I think it's Season Pass Podcast is our URL. I'm pretty sure.
I'll double check for you.
Way to be prepared.
Yeah, I'm not prepared at all. I'm sorry. I'm busy.
It is
videoing
Season
shit.
Pass Podcast.
Yeah. And find us on iTunes, subscribe, download, make me feel better about myself.
Yeah. And where can people find you on the Twitters?
At Michael Keene.
That's
AELKEENE. Michael
right.
Keene.
cool. All right. Well, let's throw over to Matt. Well, actually, Matt, tell them who you are real quick.
I'm Matt. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Matt.
At NCMattJ on Twitter. Actually, if you just go to about.me/NCMattJ, it's got all my links and shit there. So,
And I'm Ken. I'm Multiverse AVL on the Twitters. Matt, you got a tech time for us?
Tech time. Yeah. Actually, my tech time is the iPhone 6. I have been contemplating getting a new phone. And I have been trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and because I'm up for an upgrade, I'm on AT&T, so I'm going to be doing the AT&T Next, which means it's basically an interest-free loan for a new phone. And I'm not really thrilled with anything that's out there right now, so I'm going to go ahead and wait for the iPhone 6 that's coming out. There's supposed to be 2 new iPhones that are coming out: the iPhone 6 and what their people are dubbing the iPhone Air. So one's going to be a 4.7-inch iPhone, so it's a bigger iPhone. And the other is going to be, I believe, a 5-point-something inch.
A much bigger
5.5.
iPhone.
It's a phablet. Remember, we talked about phablets a couple
We
episodes
talked about
ago.
phablets, and I still think that they're absolutely ridiculous whenever I see someone with one.
I
I
don't.
saw one
yeah.
for the first time the other
If
day.
you want an
Did you?
iPad,
Like, in
they
person.
sell those.
It's
And if-
smaller than an iPad, but it's bigger than a phone. So
But when you talk on one, like whenever, am I the only person that like sees people talk? Because we're all here sitting at this table of the age where, when like our entire lives since cell phones came out, it has all been about getting them smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Well,
it
it
is
was.
very strange to see somebody holding an iPad mini up to the side of their face.
Holding a jetpack, yeah.
And some of these people, like some of these phones, they really are about the size of a mini.
In defense of, I mean, I agree with you, but to be the devil's advocate here for
the devil.
Because she's Jewish.
Anyway, so as when phones were getting smaller and smaller, that was as technology was getting better and better, and we were able to make things smaller and better and faster and lighter and blah blah blah.
Right.
But now cell phones are so much more than just cell phones. They're your computer in your pocket, and a lot of people want it to have as much
Porn.
yeah, and computing power as possible, so they want it to be able to do so much more. And I mean, I guess at this point, I don't know the
At this
logistics,
point,
but
we need a bigger screen to see our porn.
yeah.
I mean, really, seriously. I want to see boobies.
I want to see Ava Adams' titties just on like an 80-inch screen right up in my
Wow.
grill.
So this is what we get, and to those of you who might think that Michael Keene is playing a character when he's
No.
featured on the show,
No.
he is not. This is exactly who Michael
This
Keene
is
is.
Michael Keene
all
24/7.
the time,
Including when it is just me and him.
Yeah.
In our apartment when there is no one else.
You cannot turn off the Michael Keene.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Can you
We
dial
love
the
you.
Michael Keene back a little bit, Michael Keene?
I have 2 settings. One is 11, and the other is 11.
No, but wait a minute. When you were on the previous the podcast that we recorded before this, the Zapow records, illustration and a beer, we got you down to about a 5. I think you were about a 5, right?
No.
The lights are blinking. That's what.
Yeah,
kind of
sorry.
distracted
Yeah.
Michael. a
I'm the
little bit.
video guy, and I'm getting distracted because my lights just blink.
You were definitely toned down.
I didn't
for
say
that one.
fuck
You
at
were,
all.
yeah, you were. I was shocked.
You were more professional because you were talking about your craft, and now you're
Well,
talking about
Your
The
crotch.
entire time I had a
Yeah.
raging boner that I was just stuffing all my fucks
You
into.
really did. You really did. And I saw you stroking it under the table.
I had a fuck boner.
I don't think you knew that I saw that, but
And then I went outside and I just cried out, fuck!
I
And it just splooged out.
I don't.
you got cartoon.
I've got nothing on. Like I've got nothing for this.
Yeah. You got nothing for the raging fuck hard on?
I've got no material. prepared for this discussion.
I
That's
could
Michael
talk about
King.
the kind of porn I like.
Wow.
What kind of porn do you like?
Because we were talking about phones when this conversation
Well, which is why it
started.
works.
What
It comes
the
back to
fuck
porn.
good is a phone if
you
not
can't-
to watch porn on?
I want a phone that's big enough for me to stick my dick into. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Into the lightning port.
Yeah.
They probably have it. I wouldn't be if there's like a. I feel like there's a thing you plug in.
Well, I mean, Michael's dick, yes.
Pika, pika,
Hey,
pika, pika.
hey,
Pika,
his is
pika,
perfectly
pika.
Adequate.
great.
Pikachu.
It's
Thank
perfect. It's a little small, but we
It
love
is not. It is above average.
Mr. 16 inches over here.
Wha-bam.
I was about to say the 4S should be plenty adequate.
Yet you have a
For
5S.
what you have in mind. Well, it's slightly larger than normal, if you know what I mean.
It's thinner though.
Oh, it always gets thinner. And
Lightning
it
board
doesn't
dick.
and it doesn't last quite as long.
I want to see the chat room, honey.
Oh, okay. We're just talking about porn.
I think we should go back to Casey. What is your favorite kind of porn?
Do you really want to know?
Absolutely.
Really?
No, I really want to know.
She looks like she's 13, you pervert.
Yep.
Somewhere Jimmy and Renee have their face in their hands and they're just like, we leave for 1 week. And this is what happens.
The only kind that I can get any sort of fun, grown-up, special fun magic times
Magic time.
is the stuff that is kind of violent and borderline non-consent. I mean, it is consensual in the porn realm, but fantasy words.
So rape porn.
Yes, actually.
Sure.
Wow. Did not see that coming.
If Bruce Timm would animate a scene of the Joker just hardcore raping the shit out of Harley Quinn, this girl right here would have every single frame tattooed on her skin. She would be the illustrated woman.
I don't think the Joker would ever have to take Harley by force.
But she'd want
That's
him
not
to.
how their relationship works.
Well, that's because okay, and I should say,
I mean, he might punch
for
her
all
a
the
few
listeners,
times first.
When I say that type, it's fantasy, meaning there are safe words involved, and it is a mindset and that's just a type of thing that.
What's your safe word?
You know, that's none of your business.
Banana.
But
Banana.
and it's just I don't know.
Mr. J.
Guys, you're making me.
Okay, we're sorry.
embarrassed. My baby.
She's wearing a Harley Quinn shirt too that features the Joker as a popsicle. So we're just.
I would just like to
that.
point out that I've learned more about Casey in the last 5 minutes.
She's a dirty birdie.
It's true, but rape is really bad, and anyone who does
We
it
do not
should be
condone it.
killed
Yeah, we do not condone rape.
with acid.
We do not condone rape with acid.
But Dawn of Planet of the Apes was really great.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I mean, I just
Also, the Bears
oh my god, yes.
doing so great this season.
Duh, Bears.
Oh wait, we weren't talking about the bear from Dawn. You haven't seen Dawn of Planet of the Apes. There is a bear in it.
Is it really? I would figured there was.
Yeah.
They're in the woods, and bears do shit in the woods.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
They
it's
straight up
just
stab the shit out of a bear. It's awesome.
yeah. It's
At some point, we're gonna have content in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
I don't. That's on the list. Planet of the Apes is
yeah,
on the
bitch.
list.
That's true.
Planet of the Apes.
So I was
that just
segueing
came
back
out.
to it.
That just came out this weekend.
Yes.
Actually, last weekend. If we're talking about when this episode airs.
Yeah. And I saw it on Friday, so yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know what day it is, and it was God. CGI has come a long way.
Hasn't it though? Right.
And then like motion capture, I think there really needs to be.
Well, it's performance capture now too,
yeah.
which is above and beyond. Like the way I understand it, motion capture is like the guy in the suit. Performance capture is like they capture your entire face and like everything.
Your
that
performance,
you do.
if you will.
Very well said,
And
sir.
it was really incredible. I think they need to, at awards stuff, it would be nice to see, the actors that do those types of roles be recognized for the work they do, because Andy Serkis is a
could
pioneer.
He should have a Best Actor nomination, if nothing else.
I mean, the
just
problem
because-
you face with that is that there is an entire team behind that creation, And while he is a major part of that, to give, I mean, it's a sticky issue because, say, like the Best Picture award, you give the Best Picture award to the producers because they produced the film, but you have to also say, well, okay, well, this movie was made by 200 people who really deserve that Oscar. And when it comes to a motion capture performance or performance capture, whatever, you run into that issue of, hey, who actually deserves this? And then you get this whole debate and people knocking Andy Serkis, and it gets ugly. So, it's hard to really say if there needs to be that award. I'm ambivalent about it, but yes, honey.
I mean, it would be nice to see more of that start to get recognized, because I think that those categories do need to be, updated as.
Is it common enough?
Update.
Is it common enough in film now?
It's starting to.
Is performance capture? I mean, outside of Andy Serkis, who would you nominate?
But I mean, at this point in time, I don't, off the top of my head, everyone in that movie, not spoiling anything, but everyone was really great. There's some amazing performances. Avatar also did, as much as I don't like the movie overall, it was visually striking, and the actors did great.
So I mean, but there are. I mean, if we were talking about a separate category, there are other collaborative categories that have Oscar categories,
and there are there's certainly a few movies that could compete for a hypothetical performance capture type of award.
But
you have
in a given year, can you populate a category?
This year, I can only think of the upcoming, because it's a new. I mean, it's a new year. But The Hobbit has a lot of motion capture in it, or performance capture, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Rigby.
God damn it, Rigby.
Guardians of
the Galaxy. Vin Diesel. Actually, no, he doesn't do any performance capture in that. He only does the voice. I don't know.
A guy with a big Groot.
I don't know if there is any. I don't know how much performance capture there is. I mean, I know that James Gunn's brother plays
Rocket.
Yeah, James Gunn's brother plays Rocket. The performance capture, and that's where you come into a problem. Is like, okay, there is performance capture in Rocket Raccoon, but it's a different guy doing the voice. So you have two performers there, plus the team of animators, plus the raccoon that it's based on.
I mean, obviously,
nominate the raccoon.
So it's just there's. So
10
Oscars. I think that
I know if Renee were here, I have to be Renee's voice, and she would stand up for the raccoon.
Would she?
I saved a turtle this morning. Could that be like Renee? What? I stopped on the road and I moved a turtle, so I'm Renee.
She would totally do that. Yeah.
You know what? I think that if they had an Oscar for the performance capture team, or like, Matt's pointing at my shirt. And
I just noticed your shirt. It has Pam Boovie on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a sploosh T-shirt. Yeah. But if there was an Oscar for, I don't know how you'd even put it. I really don't know how you would put it. Because it really comes down to it's a visual effects Oscar, pretty much.
Yeah,
but it's for a specific performance. It's really awkward, and I think the visual effects covers it.
No,
I think that it's
going to have to be a whole new category.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a very mushy gray issue.
Or restructured.
Yeah,
but who gives a shit about awards ceremonies, especially when?
Yeah, man, fuck Hollywood. Watch it burn, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Honey, get off eBay. Let me see the fucking chat room.
Oh my god.
She's on eBay?
Yeah. What are you trying to buy there?
Nothing.
No. What are you trying to buy?
Nothing.
No.
Why
are we on eBay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone on.
Hang on.
Damn it.
There are kinds of pornography someone on the internet.
Someone on the chat room got mad because
you have to buy it.
I spoiled
as something on eBay.
It has to come on. It comes on DVD-ROM.
If you spoiled it. Don't say it again.
No, I said something that happened in Dawn of Planet of the Apes. It happens in literally the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're yelling at you about spoilers in the chat room.
I apologize, but it happens in literally the first 5 minutes. It is not a huge surprise what happens.
Spoiler alert, there are apes.
There are apes, and they use sign language, and it is fucking out there.
A couple of things we know from the first movie is that there is a pathogen that wipes out most of humanity, and it doesn't affect the apes. And the apes had really nothing to do with it necessarily. Like, they're not the ones who came up with the pathogen. Humans did.
Yeah, but
They take advantage.
Don brings up a lot of really interesting points about that.
Yeah.
And while I personally had a pretty concrete stance, there's a lot of people who say who agree with various characters who could be viewed as antagonists in the film, and it's interesting. There is a clear antagonist, but it's a very sympathetic antagonist. And like, you go into the movie and you think, okay, this is going to be a very specific type of movie. I know where this is going to go. And while it does follow standard film structure, and you can kind of, as you go through, understand, okay, well, this is obviously going to go to this big set piece or whatever. When it comes to the actual characters, it's a big surprise. There's not really any black and white. It's very complex.
It really is very sympathetic.
It's not. I think that people are overblowing it a bit. There's a lot of reviews that are just sucking the movie's ape dick, but I don't think that's. I think it's a lot like Rise in that it was overblown because people weren't expecting it to be so good, and in this case, it's
in your face.
It's the same general thing. Shut the fuck up.
Rise was a lot better than I think anyone expected it had any right to be.
It really was. I really enjoyed that.
And the way that they had cast it as sort of one of those, we've talked about this, like a year and a half ago on our Reboots episode. We talked about how Rise of the Planet of the Apes was kind of like one of those soft reboot type, where it's like if it was successful, it could be a reboot of the franchise, but if it was not successful, it could be a prequel to the classic Planet of the Apes films.
Yeah.
And it did kind of blend into that mythology, but my gosh, it was much better than, like, when it was announced, people were like, oh, great. Because I think they still had the bad taste in their mouths from Tim Burton's attempt at.
It doesn't help that you have and James Franco's going to be in it as a scientist.
Yeah.
Great.
And really,
I like Franco.
Tim Burton's version was not good. I did not enjoy that
The
movie.
makeup was really good.
I mean, technically it was good, but story.
And Helena Bonham Carter was in it. Who saw that coming?
Well, of course she was. I think it's a requirement. It's in her contract.
Well, that is the thing with Burton's films, where technically he's always, pretty much on point. But
if you have shitty writing and shitty directing, did he direct it or did he produce it? Okay,
he directed it. Yeah, it was. He even will agree that it's a low point. And I don't remember. I think it was a bad experience for him. I don't really remember entirely.
Well, they completely changed the storyline. I mean,
it's not even that. It's they went, because in the original book it's a different planet. Like it technically, like it's closer to the book than the original Planet of the Apes movie, but only in so much as they go to another planet. It's a planet of the apes, and
hence the title.
And that's pretty much where it ends until you get to the ending, which I won't spoil, but. The ending is also vaguely similar to the book. It's much more similar than, again, the original movie's ending. But the movie's ending the book's ending kind of makes sense. The movie's ending, the remake's ending, makes zero sense. Now, apparently that was set up for a sequel. Unfortunately, when your movie sucks giant donkey balls, you don't get a sequel all the time, unless it's like Transformers or something.
What's up with that?
A shit ton of money is what's up with that.
Check this out. A little bit of an aside. Turns out that, and somebody actually added it all up, in the first three, so this does not count Age of Extinction, the first three Transformers movies total 448 minutes. So that's pretty much a work day.
Right.
On the first three Transformers movies. 7.5 hours, 448 minutes. 19 minutes feature the Transformers.
What?
The robots are in like somebody added up the screen time of the actual robots in the movie. In the first three Transformers movies, it accounts for 19 minutes.
Not altogether.
Yeah.
Not all together. An average. There's no way that's 19 minutes between all of them.
Isn't there a 20-minute battle scene in at least one of them?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because even in 3 at least, that scene goes on for like almost an hour of just
and there's
fighting
dialogue
robots.
And
well, let's put dialogue in quotations. Yeah, let's do that.
Hey, Peter Cullen is fucking awesome. When he gets dialogue, he gets fucking dialogue.
That seems like it might be able to lead us into
That seems like
one of our other points we wanted to talk about.
Robot combat.
Robot on robot action.
This comes from Kotaku. 448 minutes of Transformers movies contain 19 minutes of robot combat.
Okay, well, combat. Okay,
So yeah,
But robot on robot.
that
but there
still
was
seems low.
That does seem low. Well, I mean, like that final battle, they're really just attacking the city. So I imagine, does Transformers attacking a city count as combat?
Yeah, that's
a weird-
qualifying a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by combat.
well, yeah.
I would think that if they're fighting anything, then that's combat.
Yeah.
And if it means a city, then hey.
If they're fighting a city.
Hey, man.
Does peeing on John Turturro count as combat?
When we bombed the shit out of Baghdad, that was combat.
Yeah, well.
yeah.
Also, America.
America.
But I would imagine if out of 448 minutes, only 19 minutes was robot combat, then there was a lot of, like, even if you added the other, like, non-combative robot scenes, it doesn't amount to as much as one would think.
I mean, there's still okay. I think there's still more. That just seems like a really low number, but
I think it makes sense.
And this is
If it's robot on robot fighting,
Yeah.
I see that.
and this is absolutely contingent on, like, Kotaku, like, as journalism. So,
But I'll you know what? I'll believe that only because between robots just attacking things that aren't other robots, robots talking to each other, and being on their moon base, between Sam's mom eating pot brownies and his weirdo roommates and Megan Fox shots and all that jibbity jabbery. I could see 19 minutes of two Transformers or more straight up fucking each other up. You know what? I don't remember that much of them. And when it does happen, it does go by pretty fast. There's a lot of chase scenes that probably don't count as combat.
right.
Also, don't discount Megan Fox in a pair of Daisy Dukes. That will take up a big chunk of screen time
yeah.
for me.
More than other people, probably. Oh, Megan Fox. So, yeah.
So what's next up on the...
On the old docket
So, J.K. Rowling wrote a new Harry Potter story.
that nobody here's read.
Here's the sound of me wanking.
I read it, and
Don't care.
Apparently, yeah, you read it?
Wasn't
Yeah.
Gave it a read. Apparently, it was a
read it.
Apparently, it was a compilation of
go.
several. From what I've heard, it was a compilation of several pieces of information that she had already given, basically updating people on where the characters are now, 10 years along or something like that. But Casey,
I mean, it's when I first saw that she'd written, like, the way one of my friends said it on Facebook was, they were like, yeah, J.K. Rowling wrote a short story about Harry Potter. I was like, I mean, it's basically, it's just a piece.
isn't it like a paragraph and a half or something?
I mean, it's longer than I was expecting it to be, but it's basically, it's on Pottermore, which, oh god, I miss the old J.K. Rowling website so much. But anyway, and it's by Rita Skeeter, who, if you're listening to this podcast and haven't read Harry Potter, Rita Skeeter's the big, like, gossip journalist in that, universe.
Thereby making her an unreliable source.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's funny.
She is the Daily Mirror of...
Because everything that we see in the books of Rita Skeeter, what she writes is not something you can really take as gospel.
But there's always an ounce of truth to it.
Okay.
Because she usually, I mean, I don't care about spoiling Harry Potter, because if you haven't read it, go home and just cry. Because she's and she can turn into a beetle, and so that's how she gets a lot of, her scoop, is because she spies on people, because she's the original NSA. And so that's how she gets some information. And it's interesting getting J.K. Rowling's little, like, things like, Skeeter's kind of an idiot, because there's a part where she's saying, quoting someone from the Ministry of Magic, saying, we don't comment, we've told you that less than 514 times, so what are they hiding? I mean, that's just kind of her type of journalism.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, well, basically, J.K. Rowling's not a great author. I'm joking.
Oh, fuck, son.
Wow.
The heat of 1,000 white hot suns comes down upon me.
You
I'm just
can-
kidding.
Okay. And I'm going to talk to you like you don't like her writing. That's fine. But the Harry Potter books are what got me into... They were the first... I mean, I'm younger than you are, Matt.
Sure.
First chapter books I read by myself.
Yeah.
I started writing with Harry Potter fan fiction, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I write original fiction now.
Did it involve a giant squid monster?
No.
And okay.
I wish I was that
You are
talented.
ruthless today, Matt.
No, remember we did that fan fiction with the James W. Johnson read it with the giant squid monster.
There is a fan fiction that we've read on this show, or that James read on this show, that was it essentially was the squid from the Black Lake having sex with Hogwarts,
right.
like the school itself,
Like really graphic sex.
like really
Yeah.
graphic sex with the actual school.
It's pretty
with
phenomenal
with
and
quadruple
horrifying.
penetration.
Car 2, was that before you were a listener? It was. You should go back and listen to
Dude, quadruple penetration.
We need to start. We need a segment where we find clips of old episodes that was especially good, and we plug them into new episodes, like FSS classic.
But yeah, I mean, it got a lot of kids into reading. So say what you want about her writing style. I know Michael is not necessarily a huge Harry Potter fan as much as
fine.
I am. I will always be super passionate about it because of what it did for me as a young woman. And it gave me strong...
It made you a woman.
It gave me strong female role models. They were smart. They didn't need a male, or they didn't need, a father figure or anything like that. They could stand up for themselves.
Right.
And your protagonist couldn't do what he did without the strong females and the strong males, because both genders are good. All genders are good. But don't. You too. Don't.
She's scrambling. Wow.
What? I didn't do anything. Say a thing.
I saw you looking at him. I know. But yeah, that's my opinion about Harry Potter.
I'll stick to Pendragon. Thank you very much.
Casey, I agree with you 1,000%.
Thank you, Ken.
Way
It
to
was
go out on a
only
limb
it
there,
was
buddy.
it was only when Harry Potter came along, and I know that I'm echoing like a 100,000 articles that were written in like 2000, 2001, but it was only when Harry Potter was published that I had seen a significant number of small kids walking around with like a 300-page novel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it got boys reading too, because it was
Boys read.
well,
What?
like chapter books. I mean, it was relatable for males and females. So it wasn't like pandering towards one or the other, like certain other things that are popular for reasons I don't understand. But so that was really great.
Cool.
Calling you out.
So
Nelson
what did
DeMille.
you? So what did you think of what Rita Skeeter quotation marks wrote for this update?
I mean, it was fine. It reminded me a little bit of the writing that J.K. Rowling has done for the charity books that she's written, Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is being adapted into a feature-length film, which I am
It is.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
It's steampunk Harry Potter. Some people are calling it
whatever.
just because it's Victorian, but
because
it takes place in Victorian.
steampunk.
Well, but it is.
No, I am so on board with that.
But it's it
Steampunk is so over.
It is interesting though, because it does follow Newt Scamander, and it does take place. I think both of these things are interesting in Victorian times, but also in the United States.
right.
So not in England, which is a little outside of the typical realm for Rowling.
So you get even more. But she has this whole world in her head, which is why I loved her original website so much, because you could really explore it and get into the other things that she's, worked out. Because when you write a story like this, the amount of world building, and when I read something, I like world building. Like when In Time came out, It was the one with that was the Justin Timberlake one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of a movie. I loved Cillian Murphy. The acting was fine.
Doesn't?
Right?
Was he playing a vague psychotic in this movie?
No.
Because he seems to be rather good at that role.
He does. Oh, his lips.
I
Anyway.
like Red Eye.
But I would have cared so much more about it if they had taken a little bit more time and built the world. Instead it just felt like, oh, here's a concept, do it yourself. And I'm like, I could, but if you're taking all this time and money, do it, develop it. And that's what science fiction and fantasy should be. And, that's another thing that George R. R. Martin is really great at, is world building. And I like it. It's hard.
Cool.
I'm not good at it. Do it for me, authors.
But we got a little bit more of this world building in what she had written.
Yes.
Okay.
So I enjoy it.
Anything in particular? Now, if people are not a member of Pottermore, where can they find this article?
They can find part of it on... Well, where was that link that I found? You can't get all of it. You can probably get a friend that has... Just sign up for Pottermore if you want to read it.
We do not, yeah.
Pottermore costs nothing, right? So
yeah. You have to, because it's for kids, essentially.
You have to surrender an email address.
Yeah, and you have to use one of their usernames. So I am Stormbat15595.
Oh, wow.
Because child protection. They don't trust kids.
Just use one of your porno emails.
I'm Silver Draconis. Right.
Silver Draconis?
Right. They assign you
They
a screen name.
Right.
I'm
do.
register now.
I'm guest 13575.
So we are. I heard something about Dune coming up.
Well, they.
I'm assuming this isn't Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson doing a thing.
No.
No, there's nothing. There's no Dune stuff coming up.
Yeah.
What it is back way when.
Back in 1940.
Back in the 1970s, Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, he did El Topo and Holy Mountain and Santa Sangre. He was going to direct Dune, an adaptation of Frank Herbert's book, his science fiction masterpiece.
Right. Which has been adapted at least twice.
And long story short, long story short, it's kind of skipping ahead. Eventually, he lost the rights, and it was adapted by. Well, it was directed by David Lynch, and David Lynch has gone on to say it was one of the worst experiences of his life, and it's the only movie he does not like of his oeuvre.
Right. That was the film.
Yes, the
adaptation.
film.
Okay. And then there was a miniseries.
There was a miniseries on Sci-Fi.
Something different. Okay.
And there was a movie that recently came out, a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, and it is about the process and what that process meant for Hollywood after he lost the rights. And it's very interesting because I knew a lot about Jodorowsky's concept of Dune, and I had known a lot about that story, but I didn't know quite how deep it went until I saw this film. And it's amazing because you think, okay, well, this is a movie about a movie that failed to get made. How interesting could it be?
Very.
Turns out really goddamn motherfucking interesting. And it goes beyond the fact that his version of Dune was insane.
Because Jodorowsky is
Because Jodorowsky is
a
insane.
surrealist at his core.
But
Very feisty old man, too.
yeah, he's very, very funny man. It's amazing when at the point of the movie where they talk about David Lynch's Dune and they mention that it was a failure. His reaction is one of the greatest moments in film this year. It's one of the and there's, as a fan of Dune and a fan of Jodorowsky, I'm a bit torn on it because Frank Herbert didn't like the idea of Jodorowsky's Dune, and his one complaint with David Lynch's, should be a lot of complaints, but his one complaint is that they made Paul Atreides a god, whereas in the book he's just a man. And Jodorowsky's Dune goes way beyond that point. So it's it's interesting. But as a fan of cinema, it's one of the most important movies ever, and it was never even made.
Right.
And that's really the point of the documentary.
Yeah, definitely. And as someone who is, just now really getting into film with the passion that Michael, is getting into, seeing that was really, really interesting, seeing his process and how, different filmmakers take different approaches. What was especially interesting was that we saw that film the same day that we watched part of a Woody Allen. Well, I watched the second part of a Woody Allen documentary that Michael had been finishing up.
Called Woody Allen, a documentary.
Yeah. And just the two of them, where Woody Allen is, totally okay with failure and, knows that not all of his ideas will work. Jodorowsky is just like, oh, I need my spiritual warriors, everything has to be perfect and nothing can go wrong, otherwise I'll just be crushed. And so it's really great to see these two men who are so talented and have so many wonderful ideas, but they're so different. And I don't know, I like to see the way different people work, especially living with a filmmaker and kind of seeing what inspires him and other young filmmakers today. Mm-hmm. So watch it. It's good. Go to the Carolina if you're in Nashville.
Well, awesome. Matt, we are going to be at Dragon Con, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to be...
everybody here at this table?
Everybody at this table will be at Dragon Con. We're going to be recording content. We're going to be...
Streaming content live.
We're going to have a lot of cool stuff.
We're going to try to stream some stuff like from the floor and from panels and from panel lines.
A lot of cool stuff. Yeah, panel lines. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff coming for Geek Out content, for Figure Sold Separately, for... Multiverse TV, so we'll have a lot of the cool stuff coming from Dragon Con, and we'll give you more information on that as we develop it. But
FSSpodcast.com is where you'll want to go to get all that stuff, and that's where we'll be broadcasting from by the time we get to Dragon Con.
Casey, where are we on getting? Will Multiverse and the whole group have a table at the con?
I haven't heard back from them yet.
Okay,
they are doing 18 million other things, I think.
I would
imagine. I'm not sure if they've gotten
being
back to
the second
yet.
largest con in the country, I would assume so.
Well, if we are...
and if you don't know what Dragon Con is, first
go
of all,
check it out.
Turn in your geek card.
If they give us a table, we'll see you at the table,
yeah.
and if they don't, we'll still be there, and we will just
roaming around.
We'll be roaming around like we did last year, and last year was so much fun.
It was.
We had a lot of people come up, and
you had especially a lot of fun.
Wow. There's some footage that you have that I still haven't seen.
No, you haven't. I'm gonna have to put it on YouTube for everybody.
Can we put some of that up? Some of the interviews we did last year,
specifically the one with the lady from the bar.
You'll see. It's interesting.
Yeah, we'll put that up this week.
To get everyone excited because Dragon Con is next month.
I know. Really? Seriously.
Ken, did a barfly try to steal your dick?
She did want some of the D.
What? Oh no, she just wanted some of somebody's.
Everybody wants a little Kendall action.
I don't think she was.
She was the
I don't
one.
think she was particular about who's.
She was that one that gives all the rest of them the bad name. She really was.
Is it a bad name, really? At a convention?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
She's the one that ruins it for everybody.
Did she have
else.
crazy eyes? I was.
Oh God, yes.
I didn't remember the crazy eyes.
She had some crazy fucking eyes.
All right, she had some crazy eyes apparently. So I think I got away pretty.
You need to see the video.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, one day I will see this video. And
although the part that we're talking about was not on video, but
what really?
Yeah, I don't think the kiss was on video.
Yeah, she kissed me full on the lips.
We just met you.
We were walking around interviewing people, and this raver, she was pretty freaking hot, but she was
hot, but you know what? She was dressed as nobody. She was dressed
as a dragon, as a rainbow dragon,
as a rainbow dash dragon, whatever.
Yeah,
and was doing nothing but hanging by the bar, waiting for people to buy her drinks.
Pretty much. And we walked up and interviewed her, and she assumed...
And I'm not being sexist by saying that.
And
That's
she assumed,
literally what
and
she was
she
doing.
assumed we were a big deal, because that's kind of what we do at cons.
Yeah.
And
We're really good at that.
We're getting very good at that. And after we were finished, she like kissed me full on the lips, either because that's just kind of her personality, or she really thought that we were a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to kiss some celebrity full on the lips and figure out who he is later.
It's funny when you can take about $400 worth of equipment and look like a big deal, and people will buy it. Everybody on the con floor bought that we were a big deal.
Well, and this year we'll go, and we actually are a big deal, so that helps.
Yeah.
We're such a big deal, right?
Yeah, all those 100 listeners you got.
You Jedi mind trick.
Hey,
you Jedi mind trick.
Shut the fuck up.
All right. Well, Michael, Casey, thank you guys for filling in this week.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Casey, make sure everybody, you guys follow Casey. She's fan-freaking-tastic.
Manatee B.
Manatee B
Like
on
the
Twitter.
sea cow and the bumblebee,
That's
except
right.
a manatee.
And Michael Keene, and you'll see a lot of him as the multiverse TV stuff gets developed. But
Give me money.
yeah.
Also, he's taking bookings for weddings and
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
also a photographer in the Asheville area. You can find him at MB Keene. That's MBKEENE.com. And through the month of July, all of his portrait photography is 50% off.
holy shit, 50% off.
Yeah, make no money. It's great.
So just send an email to mbkeene at mbkphoto.com if you're interested in this deal.
Can you tell that she really wants somebody?
Michael, would you like me to pitch your business for you?
Yeah. And of course, listen to Michael on his podcast, which is pretty freaking cool, and that's Season Pass.
And Ken, of course, you'll be
It's the second
joining me very soon.
And I'll be joining him on that for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. We're going to suffer through that wretched series together,
And I'll be on it-
discuss how awful it is.
I'll be
And
on it with
Matt-
him for the movie.
Yeah,
When
Matt will be
we
on
talk
the
about movie.
6th episode,
Yeah.
which will cover the 26th episode of this series, as well as the feature film Teenage Mutant Ninja
Oh,
Turtles.
cool. And am I going to be on that one too?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's going to be a good time.
Actually, I think we're going to record it here.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
That'll be good. So we're going to have that. That's coming up for you guys. And make sure you follow at Michael Keene so you can keep up with all of his projects as well. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thanks for
everyone.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. It is freaking late where we are, so we're going to
So
turn
long,
in.
and thanks for all the fish. So sad that it should come to this. We
Dun,
tried
dun,
to
dun,
warn you all,
dun,
but oh
dun,
dear. Despite our higher intellect, something had to get wrecked.
Fucked.
I don't know. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
We will inherit the earth.
Figures Sold Separately is a multiverse production, engineered by Matt Johnson for the Zapow Podcast Network. The theme music is by I Fight Dragons. Hear more at ifightdragons.com. For all kinds of geeky stuff, visit us at multiverseavl.com and stuffmonsterslike.com. Figures Sold Separately is copyright 2014, all rights reserved.